Hi people, Morino Ravenberg here again. This is going to be a quick video, and as the header suggests, the son shall pay for the sins of the father is what I'll be discussing specifically in an occult context. And yeah, this saying does not exist for nothing. This saying holds water, or it holds merit. It holds water and has merit. And especially on the occult front, long story short, magical effects can also be hereditary in general. So that means that if your grandparents or your parents, in any case, people that you descend from, so your forefathers, did something of an occult nature. For example, they made a deal with the spirit, or they performed some kind of ritual and whatnot. And worst case scenario is that that ritual backfires, or it backfired on them. For example, they made a deal with the spirit for seemingly infinite amounts of wealth and prosperity, and the spirit says, okay, but I'll give you what you want, but you need to honor your agreement by giving me what I want. For example, hosting a ritual for me every 5 days, or at least once a year through a grand feast and something like that. And bottom line is that your ancestors, your grandparents did not hold up their end of the bargain after a while, you name it. After a while, they either just got tired or nonchalant. You know what people can be like. And of course, the entity isn't going to stand for it. So your parents, everything that your parents were given or grandparents were given gets taken away from them, and they end up even worse off than they were before the whole deal. They end up ridiculously broke. Life is a living nightmare or a living hell, you name it. And you descend from their grandparents, from those people. Okay, you fall within their bloodline. So yeah, they are the parents of your parents. Then yeah, in such a situation in general, yeah, it's also going to affect you, but it all connects in the grand scheme of things. Bottom line is that yeah, it's going to affect you in the sense that your life is going to be a nightmare as well. Okay, right from the get-go, right from the start, right from the beginning, life is not going to be pleasant, and you'll encounter more than your fair share of hardship. And yeah, partially, at least partially, you have your grandparents to thank for it. Okay, they did that, and they not only ruined themselves, but they also ruined any chance of happiness, initially any chance of natural happiness that you might have. And obviously your parents will also be miserable, or will be miserable as well. So yes, magic is hereditary, and the son in this context literally pays for the sins of the father. If the father commits a proverbial sin, the son is going to pay for it like no other. And this also applies to even a non-occult, within a non-occult context, up to a certain point. Just think about, for example, Osama bin Laden's. We all know who Osama bin Laden is. I'm not gonna say who he is. We all know who bin Laden is. Osama bin Laden's children. Imagine having the last name bin Laden, going to someone, hi, I'm Anwar bin Laden. The son shall literally pay for the sins of the father. Okay, your people are going to be prejudiced and biased towards you right from the start. You name it. If a family member, okay, that has the same name that you do, same last name, or better said the other way around, if you have the same last name that a family member that committed some globally despicable act, or at least a domestic despicable act in your country of residence committed, then yeah, you will pay for the transgressions of your ancestor, so to speak, in a minor or intermediate or even a major way. You name it. Anything from you being banned from certain places simply because you're related to that scumbag, to anything else in between, to people looking at you sideways and people shunning you and blah blah blah. You name it. But specifically within an occult context, yeah, that is the case, unfortunately. I know it for a fact because I've seen it with my own two eyes, and I've also been through it, so I know exactly how it goes. Of course, this is the case in general. Doesn't mean that anytime that's the case in every, for example, transaction where a family member of yours, a distant family member, was into the occult or something like that. No, it's not what I'm saying. It all depends on the kind of occult activity that person was engaged in, that ancestor of yours was engaged in. But generally speaking, if it is of a nature as I stated in the aforementioned or before mentioned example, then yeah, you're going to feel the effects of it as well. Okay, and it's going to happen in a natural way right from the start of your life. It's not like it's just going to kick in. Nah, it starts the second you're born, and you'll grow up with it, and you'll be completely unaware of it. Be completely unaware of stuff like this. It's only when you actually come across it and you do a little digging and you go do your own research into your family tree, if you will, so to speak, or your ancestral lineage, then you'll see and you'll uncover, provided that you have enough of the knowledge and whatnot and the experience, then you'll see for yourself that, hey, that's the reason it was hereditary. One example that I can give is in relation to the earlier example that I gave, is that if you do something like that, I am not sure, because it's only something I've heard but nothing I've confirmed. It is generally speaking accurate though, based on my own knowledge and experience, that if you do something like that, you make a deal with an entity and you break that deal with the entity, and the entity takes revenge on you by ruining you. It will the misfortune, the energy that causes misfortune, it has a ripple effect, if you will, ancestrally speaking. It will keep jumping from descendant to descendant, all the way up to the fifth or sixth generation of your family. I think the fifth generation in general, for misfortunes of a violent nature. For general misfortune of a dark nature would be 3 more. It's a reference to Bina, Saran, whereas 5 is a reference to Madi, to Mars, so Gebura. That's why 5 and that's why 3, for example. It varies. It all depends on the situation and on the exact occult activity and all the other entities, if any, were involved. It all depends on the nature of the occult activity that your ancestor engaged in. So yeah, that's all. It dawned on me to make a video about this because I can't recall making a video specifically regarding this subject. In any case, guys, now you know. I'll see you later. Bye.